Hello to everybody! In the previous video you have seen that our planet Earth is not a sphere. It is slightly flattened at the north and the south poles and bulge in the middle. Can you imagine how it looks? You may look at a globe carefully in your classroom to get an idea. Globe is a true model of the Earth. Globes may be of varying size and types. Big ones, which cannot be carried easily, small pocket globes, and globe-like balloons, which can be inflated and are handy and carried with ease. The globe is not fixed. It can be rotated as the same way as a top spin of a potter's wheel is rotated. On the globe, countries, continents, and oceans are shown in their correct size. It is difficult to describe the location of a point on a sphere, like the Earth. Now, the question arises as to how to locate a place on it. We need certain points of reference and lines to find out the location of places. You will notice that a needle is fixed through the globe in a titled manner, which is called its axis. 2 points of the globe through which the needle passes are 2 poles, North Pole and South Pole. The globe can be moved around this needle from west to east just as the Earth moves. But remember, this is a major difference. The real Earth has no such needle. It moves around its axis, which is an imaginary line. Another imaginary line running on the globe divides it into 2 equal parts. This line is known as the equator. The northern half of the Earth is known as the northern hemisphere, and the southern half is known as the southern hemisphere. They are both equal halves. Therefore, the equator is an imaginary circular line, and it is a very important reference point to locate places on the Earth. All parallel circles from the equator up to the poles are called parallels of latitudes. Latitudes are measured in degrees. The equator represents the 0-degree latitude. Since the distance from the equator to either of the poles in 1/4 of a circle around the Earth, it will measure 90 degrees. Thus, 90 degrees north latitudes mark the North Pole and 90 degrees south latitude marks the South Pole. As such, all parallels north of the equator are called north latitudes. Similarly, all parallels south of the equator are called south latitudes. The value of each latitude is therefore followed by either the word north or south. Generally, this is indicated by the letter N and the letter S. We see that as we move away from the equator, the size of the parallels of latitude decreases. Besides the equator, the North Pole and the South Pole, there are 4 important parallels of latitudes. They are Tropic of Cancer in the northern hemisphere, Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere, Arctic Circle at north of the equator, and Antarctic Circle at south of equator. The midday sun is exactly overhead at least once a year or on all latitudes in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. This area, therefore, receives the maximum heat and is called the torrid zone. The midday sun never shines overhead on any latitude beyond the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. The angle of the sun's rays goes on decreasing towards the poles. As such, the areas bounded by the Tropic of Cancer and the Arctic Circle in the Northern Hemisphere and the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle in the Southern Hemisphere have moderate temperatures. These are therefore called temperate zones. Areas lying between the Arctic Circle in the North Pole in the Northern Hemisphere and the Antarctic Circle in the South Pole in the Southern Hemisphere are very cold. It is because here the sun does not rise much above the horizon. Therefore, its rays are always slanging and provide less heat. These are therefore called frigid zones, very cold. What are longitudes? To fix the position of a place, it is necessary to know something more than the latitude of that place. You can see, for example, that Tonga Islands in the Pacific Ocean and Mauritius Islands in the Indian Ocean are situated on the same latitude. Now, in order to locate them precisely, we must find out how far east or west these places are from a given line of reference running from the North Pole to the South Pole. These lines of reference are called the meridians of longitude, and the distances between them are measured in degrees of longitude. Each degree is further divided into minutes and minutes into seconds. They are semicircles, and the distance between them decreases steadily polewards until it becomes zero at a poles where all the meridians meet. Unlike parallels of latitude, all meridians are of equal length. Thus, it was difficult to number the meridians. Hence, all countries decided that the count should begin from the meridian which passed through Greenwich, where the British Royal Observatory is located. This meridian is called the prime meridian. Its value is 0 degrees longitude, and from it we count 180 degrees eastward as well as 180 degrees westward. The prime meridian and 180 degrees meridian divide the Earth into two equal halves, the Eastern Hemisphere and the Western Hemisphere. Therefore, the longitude of a place is followed by the letter E for the east and W for the west. It is, however, interesting to note that 180 degrees east and 180 degrees west meridians are on the same line. Now, look at the grid of the parallels of latitude and meridians of longitude on the globe. You can locate any point of the globe very easily if you know its latitude and longitude. Thank you for your watching. and see you later. Bye bye.